Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the official Dreadzone stream as we're bringing you another week of Dreadzone Gaming Tartarus. This time, they're going up the Fierce Force Titans. Tonight, I'm joined with Power Over Ethernet from DZG Olympus. Power Over Ethernet, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Great, great. I can't complain. Glad to be here. Glad to be casting with you tonight, man.
Absolutely, I'm glad to be here with you as well, as we are already in the picks and bans. We have seen Shen and Tom Kench taken away from the Fierce Titans, or I'm sorry, the Fierce Force Titans, and they've responded with an Urgot, and next ban coming in. So it definitely seems like Dreadzone want to take away some of those tanky top options and maybe open up their top laner Evil Gambit to maybe do some things. We saw him play last week. I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago. They were on a bye last week to some pretty good success with the set. So maybe that's something that they could be looking for as the Fierce Force Titans have taken away the bye. So what are some things that you're hoping to see in this draft? I know we've had I think one patch since Dreadzone Tartarus has last played. We've seen them come off of a bye week, so maybe prep some things. Anything spicy that you're really looking for in the meta right now?
It's not super spicy, but I'd be really happy to see Kopek on Syndra again. The last time he played it, he went 17 forward 3, so I'd like to see him do something like that again. I think it'd be spicy. Really stick it to the meta by playing something like Syndra and succeeding like that.
Well, it seems Dreadzone is more worried about the LeBlanc coming up from Kopek and not so much the Syndra. I think I actually know where that name originates from. I think that's from Star Wars, like the Bane trilogy. There's a character in there called Kopek. Funny enough, that was actually like one of my WoW character names back in the day. But Dreadzone have locked in the Jarvan for their first pick. We've seen Omnis play it a couple of times. I'm not actually entirely sure right now who the starting jungle is for Dreadzone right now. Alyssa, if you could let me know that it's Mike. Okay, so it will be Ominous coming in again on that Jarvan, and he's played it to varying levels of success. He's had a really good game going 2-0, really setting up some early ganks. And it was actually a really contested pick in their last series, but we're seeing a little bit of obnoxiousness coming out here from the Fierce Force Titans in the form of Senna and Seraphine.
It's a passive pokey bot lane. It's definitely girl boss hour in the bot lane for sure.
Certainly. And that is going to offer them a lot of utility and a lot of healing coming from that bot lane, so...
Yeah, bot lane's definitely going to want to look to gatekeep here and absolutely gaslight the hell out of DZG.
And we see the Nautilus and the Xerath both being locked in here from the side of DZG, so maybe that's a preemptory answer to a Syndra. Does have the range advantage, but we still have, you know, that Syndra hitting that the E stun can still layer a lot of damage if she's ever within range. And Nautilus, so it looks like Dreadzone might also be looking for an aggressive bot lane as the Fierce Force Titans looking to add a little bit of aggression of their own in the form of the Xin Zhao. So both jungles have a lot of early game options here. Power over Ethernet, with you being a jungle main, which one are you feeling has the upper hand in this matchup?
Considering that Xin Zhao has a Seraphine Senna backed behind it, I personally think that Xin Zhao has the better potential to win here. Jarvan does have the great... is in a really strong place right now, especially with his recent buffs. He has a lot of good burst damage, though he is a little linear for my preference as a jungler. But Jarvan's not a bad pick. Definitely A tier. The clears are gonna be comparable because neither one are gonna want to spend too much time clearing, at least early. But I still give this one to the Xin Zhao, not because of the matchup, but because the Xin Zhao has a Seraphine Senna behind it.
No, absolutely makes sense. And while the Jarvan offers you so much backline access, unfortunately, if Seraphine, is ready with the ultimate, it's gonna really put a hamper in Jarvan's plans. And then also some follow-up options right now just aren't there from Dreadzone. They have the artillery coming in from the Xerath, which I believe is being piloted by Silent Elements, who we've seen do absolutely nasty things on this champion, so I'm excited to see it at least.
I am very excited to see the Xerath in action. I actually really like the pick here to kind of match some of the distance that the red side has in this fight. I think if we see a really good Xerath play, I mean, hey, if he's gonna land every skill shot, he automatically wins. So I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
I'm pretty sure that's how all League of Legends plays. If every skill shot lands, everybody's playing Blitzcrank, right? And we see the final bans coming in. We see the Azir Camille take it away. So definitely focusing on these solo lanes coming out from Trajan here and his draft focus. And we're seeing the answers with the Ashe and the Malphite. So definitely want to taking a lot of these engage tools slash potential follow-up options from the side of DZG. And they're locking in a Corki, which we've seen a Corki completely take over a game, especially versus Dreadzone Gaming Tartarus in the past. Hopefully that's not the case this time, but definitely going to be keeping an eye on the package and not only how the Fierce Force Titans respond and try to set up things around that package, but how Dreadzone responds to the pressure that the package offers as well. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah, absolutely. I think a powerful package has a lot of potential here, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. One of the things that we need to keep our eye on too is the Senna build, right? Fasting Senna is not necessarily the go-to option now. Ever since her soul drop rate has been increased on things that she herself kills. So that's something to gonna kind of be keeping our eyes on here for as well. So we'll be able to see that right out the gate. And I mean, with a Seraphine, I don't expect to see a fasting Senna. But Dreadzone has opted to go for the set Caitlyn, so giving them a little bit of an option just in case maybe, Jarvan's helping a little too much and traps 80 carry and 90 caliber net can get her to safety, and still offering them a lot of range, right? You have a lot of the range with the Caitlyn Xerath, and then you have the go buttons with the Nautilus set Jarvan. The only problem is keeping that degree of separation to a minimum, so you don't have your three frontliners all the way in Africa while the rest of your team is trying to do work from, a million miles away. And they opt to answer the set with a Gnar, so that's another interesting matchup that, Gnar is going to be a little bit of an obnoxious factor, but really it's going to be more of a factor of how these teams are able to look for these golden opportunities, set with the ultimate and Gnar with the 5-man Gnarls as well. See if he can land any of those. So
Yeah, DZG's gonna need to be careful because if they're not careful, they're not gonna like it when Gnar gets angry. Between the Jarvan box, there's a lot of potential for terrain to be collided with, collided against. So if they don't play their cards right, the Gnar might be benefiting off of the Jarvan ulti.
right, certainly. So with that being said, we have all of the picks on the table. There shouldn't be any crazy flex pick options that we've seen in the past. I think that top lane can go either way. I think mid lane can go either way. I think the jungles are going to have to be an extremely big X factor here. And also, it's going to be a lot to me on how this Nautilus looks to go overly aggressive on the Seraphine Senna early, right? Okay, thank you. So, bringing us a little bit of a delay because TFF needs to restart some of their stuff gives us a little bit more time to talk about some of these draft opportunities. But it it's really going to be a matter of closing this game out in a reasonable time frame because Senna, the more time she's able to scale, her range becomes difficult to deal with, her damage becomes difficult to deal with, and they just don't have the same level of scaling options from the side of Tartarus. But overall, what are you feeling here, Tony, after coming out of this draft?
Honestly, DZG needs to spend time being aggressive early. I don't know that they have the best scaling options in comparison to TFF. I think that the R buttons tend to be a little bit bigger on the sides of TFF, but so long as as long as DZG can prevent TFF from getting out of hand, I think they have the potential to win this one.
Well, I definitely think so as well, and I'm going to be super interested to see just how these early games or how the early game is going to play out, right? How the jungles are going to aim their focus to really get things going. But kind of while we're waiting for everything to settle out, let's go ahead and head into the spectator delay window. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back shortly to bring you some Dreadzone Gaming Tartarus for Team Fight Force Titans. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we bring you Dreadzone Gaming vs. TFF. So we see everybody kind of taken to the rift now, and I'm seeing some pings coming out. Whether we're going to see anything too incredibly hyper coming out here, might not.
Right now, it just looks like they're basic 5-point stuff. I don't
Yep.
see anything crazy going on.
Yep, seeing the 5-man spreads here. I really want to keep my eyes on the level 2, though. Jarvan, if he starts red buff, which he should start red buff. He's on his blue side of the map right now, but might shift.
Yeah, typically here we see both junglers kind of positioning opposite of one another, and they're gonna tend to they ward their top side and obviously head to their bot, or vice versa. If they show bot side and ward bot side, they go top side. So I think we're gonna see both bot side starts from both junglers.
Certainly, and one of the big things that I want to keep my eye on is the potential level 2 gank coming from the Jarvan. It's super, typically, usually super effective, and he's opting to go top here, power over Ethernet. So
It's definitely a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it plays out in the long run, but. Obviously, potential here is that they get to make a play bot side earlier, and they obviously try to pressure bot. Though, from my personal experience, if you're not careful, if you start top side, you tend to miss the timers or end up on an awkward timer to be at Dragon. So hopefully, DZG can figure it out and play around that.
certainly. So we're seeing kind of just the standard things coming out here. The level 1, you're gonna see the poke games probably coming out of the mid lane. Definitely going to be keeping my eyes on the Nautilus hooks. But I think both teams should have a very good understanding of what happened. And we're instantly seeing it here. So we're seeing the hook come out, landing on the Senna, but it's actually not going to be a trade in favor of DZG, as a lot of that damage coming out from the Senna Seraphine there. Went on the Nautilus, and I think that came up aces in the side of TFF, especially with the amount of sustain that they have there in lane. If they're not getting kills here, they're not blowing summoners, these trades aren't worth it. So it's definitely going to have to be an all or nothing kind of methodology. And without Caitlyn, without Best Plunger here having access to the trap, I don't know if you take these.
Another big hook. Let's see it happen.
They're going now. Do we see the trap layer down? The instant flash comes out from Sayer to get away from that trap, and I think that would have been a kill if it landed. We did see no summoner spells burnt from the side of DZG, but that flash coming out from the Senna. Hey, that's where I think you want to bring that Jarvan now, especially since he started top side of the map, right? Let this wave bounce back out, and that's the kind of setup that we'd look for here. But what are you thinking right now if you're the Jarvan?
Right now, if I'm the Jarvan, I want to let that bot lane force that pressure in the wave just enough and get a quick crash and be in that lane as the wave moves back in. So that way you can get a cheeky little in-lane gank. They're none the wiser.
Ooh.
Especially while there's no vision set up in these bushes.
Mid lane is certainly going in the favor of Silent Elements here. He is landing everything. And something else that I wanted to highlight here, we do see the Jarvan coming in now. The hook doesn't land, so Jarvan instantly going for the Scuttle Crab. A little bit of damage coming out now on the Best Plunger, and the members of TFF are pretty healthy. But one thing that I wanted to point out here is, we are seeing a little bit of trade. Don't think anything's going to come of this, though. We talked about the itemization for the Senna, right? She can now opt to go for non-fasting Senna, and it's not Troll, right? So, which completely makes sense if you're going to be taking a Seraphine. That damage is going to be so...
Jesus, this Xerath is just dishing out my damage left and right. Forcing the Corki to back early, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Corki does have the teleport advantage in the lane, so he will be able to come back. But Xerath will have access to a combat somewhere if he feels the need to use it. They're looking for something bot side, but they're looking for a top. Evil Gambit is low. He's forced to use the W. Flash will land the Haymaker. Damage coming out now. I think this will be enough. Maxi lining up. Will he take the W? Never mind. The Q comes out. We're seeing the engage coming out now from the Jarvan Michael on the bot side. Going on to Sayer. She doesn't have the flash available. Damage gets pulled back in. Ominous takes the kill on Senna. So we're seeing a 1-for-1 trade. First Blood going over in favor of TFF. But a 1-for-1 across the map as the AD carry dies on the bot side and the top lane dies on the top side for Tartarus. Whew, so much going on there in such a short little spurt, but each jungle kind of doing their thing. Jungle started top.
This is the exact pressure that we want to see both of these junglers playing. They're most effective when they're acting early, and they're doing so almost. They're almost mirroring each other. This is exactly what we want both of them to do in this situation.
Certainly, and this also sets Dreadzone up really well for the Drake objectives, if that's what they're aiming for. Granted, it is going to be a Drake 1 Infernal, which will give you some combat stats. It's going to be nice, but ultimately, it's going to be setting you up for maybe a less than ideal soul if it's a mountain, or in this case, I'd say if your Dreadzone, Cloud's not that great either. It's decent, but even for the side of TFF, a Cloud Soul is not too fantastic. Now, if an
I
Ocean
don't
Soul,
know. If you really think about it for TFF here, you get at least a little more Seraphine ultis, which are a good tool for engage, and they can make or break team fights here.
The only reason I was saying it wasn't is because the Jinzhou ultimate is okay. The Gnar ultimate is pretty much up anytime.
Up anyways, yeah.
And then Senna ult super situational to use as well. But I mean, once again, Corki's back in lane, and he's already at what I'd say 35% health. He is not having fun in this lane, as Silent Elements is pretty much landing everything in the kitchen sink as well. Like another W just landed there, so fantastic job from Silent Elements on this champion. I love seeing him play it. Is going to have to play a little bit of the mana passive game here if he wants to keep doing it, but one thing that I want to point out, and Corki didn't opt to use the teleport to come back to lane. He's now sitting at roughly... Oh, we're seeing the Hex Flash go in. Seeing the damage come out now onto the Senna. Still doesn't have the ult available.
Unfortunately, no trap there.
Connect. Oh, sorry, go ahead. What would you say, Tony?
Yeah, unfortunately, the trap didn't land there, and they weren't able to complete the full combo. Just goes to show that traps don't work, you know?
Not always. But that was an Ignite burn from the side of DZG's bot lane. And now Sayer has the flash coming up, and I'd say probably another 30 seconds. Hex Flash is going to be available yet again if they want to look for it, but I don't know if they'll have the prime window to do so. But that was a great Seraphine route to kind of stop the momentum there from Dreadzone. And honestly, I think that Caitlyn just didn't have any traps available. I think she used 2 on kind of setting up in that one location, and when the engage came out, I don't think there were any traps available. So that's a little bit of a communication thing that bot lane of DZG will really have to work out here on.
I just don't think that TFF likes traps, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, maybe not. I don't think anybody does.
You do know what kind of trap I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, but how about we keep it PC, huh? So, we're... Damn it, Tony. Anywho, kind of seeing the same things that we'd expect. Corki did take a reset, so we're sitting here at about net neutral across the board. 300 gold difference, which is just a little bit of CS and that first blood difference. Jinzhou looking, does connect. Will we see any follow-up? No. Silent Element's forced to instantly flash out. Damage coming out now, has the barrier available, nothing more for that, but hey, a flash in the mid lane is something you'd like to see, as we're seeing a lot of action here. Captain Biggest is down here with Ominous. He goes in, gets the Cataclysm onto Sayer. Sayer's forced to flash out, and I think that was 2 flashes, yes, Captain Biggest and Sayer. Make that 3, as Scry's on the Seraphine had the flash as well. So teleport coming in, dissolving the play a little bit. The stun was huge! But I think that was a red buff finally ticking down, taking Silent Element's life. That barrier buying him just enough time to connect that E and then take down Jinzhou on a counter. But Ominous does not have Cataclysm as well. Flag and Drag is just Valkyried away from. No follow-up there, but Silent Elements making that a 1-for-1 trade, I think, was one of the best things that he could hope for in that situation.
Very well played on his part there. I do believe that the safer move would have just been to leave. Granted, yeah, you lose some plate gold, but you don't die. But I mean, I think it's definitely a good technical showing, the fact that he was able to get 1-to-1 in that situation.
Oh, absolutely, but another thing to consider is Corki not getting the gold there is beneficial. Jinzhou is still a little bit of an animal when it comes to having the gold, so that's unfortunate. But I think overall, I'd rather have the gold on the Xerath than I would the Jinzhou, especially if they play their team comp to the way that they're supposed to. And really able to leverage the artillery firepower that.
Yeah, but the thing here is that the Jinzhou did get that gold. I mean, so any additional gold that goes to the Jinzhou is a bigger threat, especially based on Caxie's earlier performances this split on Jinzhou. It's in one of his favorites, and he's shown that he can perform on it.
Well, we will definitely be keeping an eye on him as he goes through this game. Package is available for the Corki at the base. Dragon will be spawning here in about 40 seconds. The first strike did go over to the side of Dreadzone after they had that that play earlier in the bot lane. We kind of got distracted with the mid lane action there for a little bit, but we're having an Ocean Drake next, so that means Soul's either going to be Mountain or Cloud, which I'm hoping it's Cloud. I think more ultimates makes the game a little bit more fun, but my, does it make things a little bit of a brain melter. We are seeing now the Jin Zhao and the Nora on the top side going for the Herald, and where would you like to drop or see that Herald dropped, PoE?
Honestly, I like to drop the Herald at your mom's house, but the important thing here is saving that Herald for mid lane and actually using it to grant pressure before a dragon, and at least even opening up the map a little bit.
Right, and we're now seeing a little bit more action coming out on the top side of the map. Gambit utilized the ultimate, does not have enough. His W will not shield him enough, as we do see Ominous on the bot side of the map opting to say, okay, well, if they're sending a jungle top side, then we'll just go for the Drake. So second Drake for the cost of their top laner's life. Silent Elements moving to the top lane, trying to clear the wave a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. They opt to use the Herald on the top lane to get first tower. Ominous here looking in the bot side tri-bush, following up with a little bit of damage from the Caitlyn. My damn, that ultimate actually chunked. But it's not going to be enough. Ominous doesn't have the follow-up, but it will be some plate gold going over here for the side of Caitlyn and the Nautilus. Herald should get its second charge off, and I don't think anybody's going to be in place to answer that. And they're going to be losing a lot of pressure on the top side of the map here, PoE.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is, granted, they didn't drop it mid, but at the same time, they freed up the Gnar to spend a little more time elsewhere on the map. So the potential to even, like, make a fun play bot lane and get a big Gnar ulti out of it is now there because he doesn't have to spend so much time managing the wave top.
Right. But there is going to be the factor of him not having the teleport available, so that will be something to consider. And, if Evil Gambit has the mind for it, he freezes that wave in that location. It looks like it should be in a state that he can... actually, it looks like it's going to be pushing while I lied. Without seeing the lane, just kind of looking at the dots. But, if he freezes it in a decent location, then any time that Nora looks to go do something elsewhere, he can try to levy that teleport advantage. So let's see what they do. But right now we're looking at a 2k deficit here for the side of Dreadzone Tartarus, and a lot of that's going to be the kills and primarily those tower plates really here coming in big. I think they've gotten 3 tower plates from the side of Dreadzone, but TFF has gotten 5 with one first tower and then 2 in the mid lane. So yeah, bringing that to a total of 7, and that first tower gold going over as well. It's
yeah. So granted, yes, they've given up early dragon pressure, and now are about to be on soul point, but they're up in gold. They have the greater team fight potential and greater lane pressure, and especially in the top lane. 2-0 to 0-2. Like it's at this point, they want to capitalize on this Gnar. Like make use of the lead that he's got.
Oh, absolutely. And a Divine Sunderer, he's going to be able to sit in the sideline for a set, theoretically, pretty comfortably all day. And we've seen Jarvan putting a lot of his attention in the bot lane, and it really hasn't attributed to too much in the way of getting the Caitlyn ahead. Yeah, she's 40 CS up and has 3 tower plates. That feels really good. But when it comes down to getting full pressure on those laners, it's almost negligible. Plating will fall soon here. We do see that we have 2 minutes for the next Drake. I think we have about 3 minutes for the next Herald, so definitely going to be interesting to see where the teams decide to prioritize. This is definitely a different look than we saw from Tartarus 2 weeks ago, where they pretty much had a demolition squad and just rotated across the map. Now, this game, they're kind of behind the power curve when it comes down to the objectives. For the standing objectives, rather, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. It almost feels like they're walking to a bar, with a group of people waiting to punch them.
Well,
and that's the punchline.
So one of the things that we might have to be worried about is the scaling potential of the Senna. If she's able to get stacks, which I'm not able to see her stacks here at the moment, but a lot of pressure is going to be down on this tower, and I think we're probably going to get a fight here. As maybe not. Caxi did see the Jarvan out with the W, so it looks like Dreadzone will get that bot side tower, even up the gold a little bit. Still a 1k deficit, but they pretty much got that for free. This bot lane, right now for Dreadzone, I think is going to be the X factor just as much as this Gnar in the top lane might be the X factor for the side of TFF.
The good thing here is that that DZG is on a good timer here. the bot lane and the jungle have all backed roughly at the same time, putting them on good pace to try to fight for this upcoming drag and put them on soul point. Granted, they are going to be giving up pressure elsewhere on the map, but hey, soul point, and I wouldn't wag a finger at it.
Absolutely. Well, Drake is coming up in 37 seconds. I did not hear the Corki package get picked up, but it does not look like it's available in the minimap, so I don't know if he has it now.
They didn't pay for Prime. That's what happened.
And one of the things that we have to also keep a look on the current itemization right now, the Corki is ahead of the Xerath a little bit. Has his item finished. But both Corki and Senna here are looking to complete tiers. Corki does have the package. The fight is breaking out. Possibly Purple goes in. Corki responds with a package, getting on top of Silent Elements. Damage going out. Kopak has slain Silent Elements. Now the Nautilus will fall. Damage going out. The Seraphine ult will connect on the Ominous. Now he's getting focused up. Caxi on top of him. Caxi now connecting on the Best Plunger. I think that will be Caitlyn falling. That was a 4-for-0 side of TFF getting the fight that they wanted. And you know, PoE, I talked about it at the beginning of this game when the Corki was picked. One of the things I wanted to see is how TFF would play around the package, but also how would Dreadzone respect the package. And they didn't. They saw that Corki had the package and they said, oh, this is a fight we want. And Corki going through and absolutely getting just backline access, right? The backline access that he got onto Silent Elements was massive and just completely ruined the landscape of that fight there.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot like my first dates. A lot of people not respecting my package. It's just what happens. You know, you don't know what you're getting into until you're there.
I quit. Anywho, yeah, the package disrespect was immense, right? Corki was able to do so much there, and he wasn't really threatened at all. They didn't even pop his lifeline passive coming out from his mythic item. Dreadzone is now saying, okay, well, maybe we can try to get a little bit more back, hopefully, into some sort of semblance of a driver's seat by taking the Rift Herald here. But, you know, that Drake stacking advantage that they had is now down 50%, right? It's one Drake to 2. So that being a clear win condition and really accelerating the tempo for the game is kind of taken away. I think Captain Biggest down there in the bot lane should get that tower, if not a lot of damage on it. As Dreadzone are kind of going for the Nayram strategy here. They might be dropping the Herald, that is confirmed. They are dropping the Herald 5-man strong. Gnar does have access to... No, does not have access to the teleport. Does not have access to Mega Gnar as well, as it just disintegrated. So Dreadzone might take this in for 2 towers.
It definitely would swing the momentum back into the direction, even if marginally. You know, granted, they are losing both their side lanes.
We are seeing the Nautilus now go out onto Caxi, but he pops the ultimate, and none of the damage will be able to connect, as they might be looking to take it. Caxi did hit the W. Will he follow it up? He does. Opts to go for it. Gale Force with a 90 caliber net. Huge ultimate by Evil Gambit as he goes in. Maybe damage following up here will be enough. That healing is massive, but we are now seeing Silent Elements throw the artillery. Does not connect, but look here. But they weren't able to get any of the kills. The members of TFF are low, but Corki is now hitting the Nexus, or I'm sorry, the inhibitor tower. Gnar is now taking the tier 2 bot lane tower. Dreadzone, I don't think this is what you wanted.
Yeah, unfortunately here, they weren't able to generate enough pressure mid to stop the side lanes from pushing in and getting turrets. And the fact that they weren't able to capitalize on 3 very low members at TFF make it almost a loss here, unfortunately.
That absolutely was a net loss. You lost, what, I think 1 tower top lane, 1 tower bot lane. So both towers that you got mid are negligible. It does open up the map a little bit, but the fact that you weren't able to really get any of those kills and break open the base of TFF, you now generated such a deficiency in your side lane pressure, and it's going to be really hard for them to look for neutral objectives here in the future. And another thing to factor in here, PoE, is we talked about the immense sustain that the side of TFF have, right? Not, excuse me, not only do they have access to the insane healing that Senna and Seraphine bring, but Xin Zhao is also sitting on Conqueror. I mean, Jarvan is as well, but Xin Zhao is sitting on Conqueror. And what are we missing here from the side of DZG? Grievous Wounds!
Yep, unfortunately, the fact that they don't have Grievous Wounds when they are fighting a Senna Seraphine, especially, and a Xin Zhao with Gore Drinker, It's definitely a shopkeeper loss here, and I don't blame them. Like, you know, you want to get your first mythic item. Like, you obviously always want to do that. But when you're down such gold like this, you almost have to sacrifice that first item for Grievous.
Now, I can understand on the side of the Xerath not having it just yet, but as for, you know, Set, maybe he should have it, right?
I almost would never want Xerath to have it here. Xerath is doing a good job of dishing out damage and poke here. And
Well, he's going to be the
honestly,
most consistent way to apply it. But the fact that Caitlyn was sitting on a Crochet Shard instead of a Executioner Sword, like, that feels a little bit bad. So a little bit of an itemization there, I think, would have been able to really close the gap and really be able to knock those health bars down. As they were super close to dying, but, you know, just that little bit of healing coming out being an absolute clutch factor. But another thing to consider is how good TFF must be feeling. Xin Zhao hit a debut on a Caitlyn with 5 members in the mid lane, and they only had 3, and he was like, yeah, I'll take it. And they weren't punished for it, so that has to feel extremely rewarding. The Xerath ultimate coming out now, looking to apply a little bit of pressure, maybe get his team into jockeying position to make sure they maintain vision here, but if a fight breaks out, PoE, I don't know if Dreadzone will win it, especially with Corki being, I think, 9 mana away from completing his tier item. Senna being a long way from that, but when that item is completed, we're going to see these damage charts from the Corki just spike.
absolutely. You know, and the unfortunate thing here is that I don't even think that DZG has been playing this matchup bad.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay, poke out here.
Oh, we're seeing it now. Caxina hits the W onto the Ominous. Will he follows up? Maybe not, but we're seeing a teleport here. And I think that's going to be collapsed on. Captain Biggest is about to go Mega. Is he going to look for it? He's got
Big grouping here from
now, but not able to get in. The Gnar was not able to get in. Evil Gambit in the back line trying to do as much as he can, but the Seraphine ult coming out huge. Possibly Purple Falls. Ominous is now in unfriendly territory. Caxi following up now, getting onto the backline members of DZG. Silent Elements looks like he will fall as Caxi is running him down. Chasing. Connects, kills, as Barrier was not enough. Dragon will probably be TFF's next focus, as that was another 4-for-0 trade in favor of TFF. This gold lead sitting at 7k, and the map is completely in favor of TFF. I think they're immediately focusing on the dragon, the Nash right after this dragon. Yep, they just have Gnar sitting down there to take it, and that was not what you wanted to see. And honestly, once again, PoE, we're seeing the same stuff. The side of TFF have things that you don't want to fight, right? Gnar is about to go Mega. That's when you hit the F no button, and you don't do it. But they're going full throttle ahead when packages are available, when the Gnar is Mega. But they're looking for a contest here. Evil Gambit goes in, hits a 2-man facebreaker, pops out the W, gets a lot of damage onto Scries, as now Caxi goes on a rampage as he is taking down the Caitlyn. Best Plunger is down. The Xerath ultimate coming out will be enough. Does hit Kopak for the final hit. Low members. Oh, a huge 2-man ultimate there coming out from the Xerath. Evil Gambit's ultimate came back out to pick up Caxi, but Caxi is able to layer down the last of the W to get the damage out. Damage going, ticking down as Evil Gambit will get the kill. That was 5 kills from Dreadzone onto TFF for the loss of just their bot lane. Dreadzone, that is exactly what you wanted to see. The respawn timers were in their favor. They were able to stop that Nash from going down and get themselves in a little bit more of a jockeying position to hopefully bring this game back in their favor.
Yeah, definitely an overextension by TFF. I mean, like, I understand why they went for the Baron play, but with towers being so low right now, it's almost impossible to accomplish something like that. Moments ago, I thought DZG was going to be afraid of the calendar because their time was running out. But with moments like this, there's a lot of potential here to make a comeback.
All right, we're going to start fining you for every terrible joke you have. I think you're... Like, if I do $5 a bad joke, we're probably going to be able to pay off all the DZG bills here. Keep the electricity running. But, no, absolutely. So, with that Nash being really neutralized here, it's going to be a matter of DZG sitting back and saying, why are we losing these fights? And if anybody on their team just takes a look at it and goes, well, first time we fought them with package, second time we fought them with Gnar Ultimate. Now, the Gnar Ultimate wasn't super impactful for that last one. That one, the last fight down at that Dragon Pit was more, I think, the degree of separation between their backline and their front line and not really having the most clean setup for the fight. And as soon as that teleport came in, it wasn't too much of a challenge for TFF to collapse on that teleport. So that's some things for them to really be looking out for. But I think these fights are still winnable. Senna is only on one item. Granted, Gale Force Caitlyn is really safe, maybe a little too safe for the amount of damage that they could be outputting. Xerath does now have the Grievous Wounds, but I think these fights are still winnable until Senna completes her Mirror Man. We are seeing the Xerath ultimate go out, almost kill Scryze on the Seraphine. Look at that health bar.
Well, I mean, if Scryze was almost cries there, if you know what I'm saying.
All right, now we're paying for Trajan's coaching fee with that one. Good job. Yeah, I mean, keep it up, man. Like, I'm all for paying the bills through some other means, but Vision Control now going in the favor of Dreadzone as they have the jockeying position. Will they look for possibly purple here? They might. Caxi and Captain Biggest here joined with the rest of the team, and once again, we're seeing the same thing here.
You know where Kopek is from? You know where the term Kopek comes from?
I think I was talking to you about that earlier.
It's Poland. Poland.
Is it
Kopek
Poland?
is a city in Poland.
Interesting. I know there was a Star Wars character named Kopex. I thought that's what it was referenced.
Does he have dope pecs?
What's the fine rate at now? I'm losing track.
Dude, you're gonna be penniless because I will.
I'm gonna be rich.
I'm gonna treat you like I treat the IRS. I'm gonna treat you like I treat the IRS and not pay any tax.
I think we just had admittance to tax evasion here. I mean, gods, man. So, okay, we got to send a soul check. So yeah, Senna's sitting at her third tier for the passive right now. So the range is going to be pretty decent. Not as much as it would be the fasting Senna option here, but you know, sitting on the Kraken Slayer almost with a stacked tier item, but now possibly purple is going to be possibly killed, as I think Aftershock was enough to save him from the damage coming out. Corki is now starting to layer here, does not have access to the package. Evil Gambit going in with the W, huge damage going out, does shut down the Xinjiao here. Now damage going out onto Kopek, but none of the members of DZG are able to follow it out. Cataclysm comes out, locked Captain Biggest in there, but Captain Biggest is able to just jump out, starts throwing some boomerangs, takes down Ominous. Now, Seraphine ult comes out, goes wide, not hitting anybody. 4 members alive on the side of TFF, 3 members alive on the side of DZG, well, 2.5, because possibly purple is definitely out of this fight. Health bar is really low, and I think we just dissolved the action here. The members of TFF are definitely a lot healthier with 1 man up. We'll have jockeying position for this Drake, but the members of DZG have the range. They should be able to poke it out and maybe ruin their lives, but Drake being started up now, it looks like no, negative. I thought Captain Biggest hit it. But yeah, so it might be just another fight as the members of DZG are coming back to life here in 2 seconds, and whew, that was a little bit of a close one. As we're now seeing it go out. Captain Biggest is starting to get closer to that Narbar. Teleport coming out from Evil Gambit. We're now looking maybe from the possible hook from possibly purple. Will it hit? Will it connect? Will she throw it? Find out on the next episode of Team Fight. Out! Does connect onto Sayer. Huge damage going out. But the Mega Gnar is mega big in the front line. Set taking him back into the enemy territory as we're now seeing the damage layout. Possibly purple does fall, but so does Gnar. Damage now going out. Set will fall. And we are now seeing the death throes of this fight. Super low health bars. Guardian Angel coming out for Xinjiao. 3 members alive on DZG again. 4 members alive.
Oh, God.
Xerath coming in with the volleys from downtown. The Caitlyn ultimate coming in as well. And it does look like just 1 more member will fall. Caxi hits debut and Ominous. Will he follow it up? Negative. Xerath is there offering that damage, and it was a 2-for-2 trade. But Dragon going over in favor of TFF, and that is a 5k gold deficit, 3 Drakes. They're now on soul point, and this game is getting into the danger zone as now Senna is completed her tier item, starting to work on her 3rd item here now. Fingernails are going out the doors as I think I'm biting them all, and just how
Xerath is just sending these half-court shots left and right, and he's got a good percentage. I'm not good at math, but fuck, is he doing pretty good right now for his art abilities?
Absolutely. And another thing to look at, this is a typical Silent Elements style build. He has the Magi's. He is feeling himself. If he's not focused in these fights, he's going to offer so much damage. As we've seen, right? These ultimates are connecting. This damage output is connecting. And in that fight, Corki just was not able to offer as much as he has been historically. And Senna getting heavily picked out in the early beginning of that fight by a beautiful hook from possibly Purple meant that their damage output wasn't what it could be either. Not only was the damage output not what it could be, but we're also looking at the sustain output that Senna wasn't able to offer in that fight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think the odds are looking a lot better for DZG. They granted they're still on the verge of losing Dragon Soul here, but the thing is that these fights are looking better and better every time they happen for DZG. You know, I will say this: the separation between the engage tools that DZG had and their backline in that last fight was a little too far. It was kind of difficult to follow back up with their engage from the set, but they were still able to do so after the fight happened, and the entire team of TFF was very low, one shot low, which they were able to capitalize
balancing on knives almost every single fight. We are seeing a little bit of a Drake dance now as Corky's going down to answer set. Both teleport, well, actually only teleport from Kopek available, as Evil Gambit does not have his. Another artillery barrage coming out here from Silent Elements, almost able to kill Sayer just with that ultimate alone, and that damage output is insane. Unfortunately, Dreadzone does not have access to those Cloud Drakes, so it's going to be a little bit before he can do that again. But that does give them a great position to come in here and clear up a lot of this vision on the Nash, and maybe, you know, have themselves in a prime position to be able to dance around this objective. So now we're getting into the stage of the game where I'm kind of skeptical a little bit about the Gale Force on the Caitlyn. I mean, Gale Force Fleet Footwork, like, it's super safe, sure, but is it worth giving up a Kraken Slayer for?
You know, I have this hard opinions on Caitlyn in terms of, like, what do you build on Caitlyn? I'm not an ADC player, and I'm not really good at math, but you know, it just doesn't feel like the pick here. Like, maybe some lethality, maybe something, just something with a little more oomph, you know?
What I'm thinking is that the Gale Force would be really good if you had to worry about heavy engage tools, but the only engage tools that you really need to watch out for too heavily are Gnar Leaps and Xin Zhao connecting with his W, which I think both of those you should be able to just dodge out of and rely on the 90 caliber net to offer you the degree of safety, or have the Nautilus kind of hang out with you in the backline, since you have the heavy engage tools already of a Jarvan in the set. But such is the way of things. I'm not going to be too judgmental on it because I haven't played League in quite a few weeks myself, but we are seeing 30 seconds now on this streak. Dreadzone looks like they're going to be shoving into the mid lane, and it looks like the side of TFF is opting to look for the wings coming out of that bot side river. Corki does have the package available. Dreadzone, you need to play respectful about it, as possibly Purple possibly face checks a bush. Damage coming out now from the Xerath, layering down heavily, does pick up Senna, as they did only lose the Nautilus for it. Caxi is now on the front line. I think yes, that was just Ominous going gold, but will it be enough? I don't think it's going to be enough, as he's ticking down, as Evil Gambit instead will die. Now we're looking at Kopek going on to Best Plunger, taking Caitlyn out, and that is 4 members dead from DZG, only the Zera surviving here, and I think that's going to be Cloud Soul going over in favor of TFF, and they might once again try to set their sights on Nash once again, immediately following this Drake. It didn't work out for him last time, but now this time death timers are a lot bigger. But they're just disrespecting the tools that TFF have available. Package was up again. Now you're starting to really heavily position for this fight instead of just catching them with their pants down on the Drake. I mean, especially with how many poke opportunities that you have with the Xerath setting things up beautifully, you don't have to let your front line go in immediately first. You can kind of weaken them up, soften them up, let them take a little bit of damage from the dragon. Make sure that you have the vision tools to identify them on the objective, and they're just taking suboptimal fights, I feel.
Yeah, right now we're entering into the danger zone, because right now Senna is actually getting to the point where she's not a pushover anymore. And unfortunately, the Corki is doing a good bit of damage himself at this point.
It's a 4-item Corki. He's just gonna absolutely mow down on anybody. We
Right.
saw it in the last fight. He figured out where Caitlyn was. Is now Evil Gambit is gonna be hitting Kopeck, and I don't know if that's a fight that he wants. The members of DZG here are in the top side, as that was a lot of damage going on to Kopeck. None of the follow-up options are there, though, as it's gonna be a fight for this blue buff, and it looks like it went over to the side of DZG. I think that was a smite. Yep, confirmed. Smite going over from Ominous to secure that objective, but another
You know
thing
what
to consider
DZG and Math have in common?
am I gonna have to find you again for this?
Just answer the question.
No, I don't.
Just answer the question.
I don't know what they have in common.
Well, they both need to solve their own problems.
That's not how math works at all. I'm so disappointed in you.
I told you I wasn't good at math.
So we're now seeing a 7k gold lead in the side of TFF. I think they're going to definitely be jockeying around for this this Nash. As yep, do confirm that Caxi with Sayer and Scries are both on it.
They're not going to melt this fast enough. They don't have the consistent DPS and fast.
Oh, Dread Zone's onto it now. We're seeing a teleport now coming out from Kopeck. Maybe Captain Biggest. Never mind, that is Captain Biggest. As the package is not available, DZG is in a little bit of a choke point. Captain Biggest is going out. Doesn't have the Gnar ultimate available. This is the fight that you want if you're going to find it. But they just kind of back off. They don't have the opportunity yet. And it looks like both teams are just kind of playing very respectful here.
I don't know if it's a misclick or what, but I've been seeing this issue with the Xin Zhao and his targets that he's eating on.
Evil Gambit locked up in the pit now, taking a lot of damage. Will Nash be able to take him out? Negative.
Oh my god!
Whoa! Silent Elements once again on the Seraph, getting these Hail Marys onto the backline members of TFF. Sayer will fall. This puts DZG in a numbers advantage as they're jockeying around this objective. Gnar is bringing in the mid wave, and it looks like we have the assist me pings going in, and they're just kind of doing a dance. The teleport coming out from Evil Gambit to kind of get a little bit of a flank position on that, and negative. They will not be starting up that objective, so kind of just a net neutral here. The kill picked up on Sayer, but coming up in 15 seconds, I don't think that's going to be enough for DZG to get anything out of. And this game is almost on a timer now. 2 minutes and 30 seconds is when the Elder Drake will be up. And I think both teams definitely want that objective. And as it stands right now, with the exception of getting these insane Seraph picks, Dreadzone has been playing on the back foot for sure. But we do have a 21 stack Magi Seraph. The damage has been strong. It's just a matter of finding opportunities when the Mega Gnar is not available and the package is not available as well.
Yeah, I gotta give credit. You know, anytime that I think that DZG is down and out, they breathe some new life into the game, and they somehow manage to keep me on the edge of my seat, and I have to give them a lot of respect for that.
Well, DZG now is starting up the Nash, and I think that this side of TFF has at least, they definitely know Farsight Alteration.
This has got to be a bait. There's no way that they look to complete this here.
Well, maybe they won't. I don't see the Mega Gnar available. It definitely is not. Package is not available as well, but DZG, instead of looking to do something with that, they were just maybe hoping for the sneak there, as they have minion waves pressuring into their topside tower. This game is almost 40 minutes in here, and, you know, I think it's going to really come down to the Elder Dragon, because neither team seems to really be able to complete the smash. Neither team seems to really be able to break the other team's base. I mean, TFF has come close here, but I don't know if it's scared or if they're just respectful or what it is that's stopping them from breaking into this base without these neutral objectives. But it's definitely an interesting game, to say the least, when it comes down to how long we are into it and how little has actually been accomplished.
Yeah, you know, with a 7k gold lead, I kind of want to see more out of TFF. They even have Cloud Soul here. They have 4 Cloud Drakes.
Well, I think you're going to get exactly what you want. Package is now back available on the map. Dreadzone has not played respectfully around this passive before. They should have heard the air siren go off. But we have Elder coming up in 20 seconds, and that's not something that they can afford to give over. Dreadzone is hard pressuring in mid here, but Caxi might be looking for an engage opportunity now. Will not actually go to connect with anything. They're just clearing out the waves. Elder in 5 seconds. Will Dreadzone look to do something here? Meganar is about to come online. He might look for a hop to go in. Nothing is going to happen. Corky, the man with a plan, looking here for a flank opportunity, as the side of TFF will actually start up this Elder Drake. So this is going to be up to Dreadzone to respond appropriately. Meganar is coming out now. Meganar is out. So if they're able to wait for this to fade away, then they should be in the money. But I don't think they'll be able to wait for this Drake to fall. As we now see Cat and Vegas is almost out of Meganar. Corky package still available, and now we're seeing it go out. We're seeing the members of DZG's frontline go in, but Corky is now sitting in the back line, getting poked out. The Seraphine will die to the Jarvan. However, Corky will also fall to, the Xerath. So 1 member down from DZG, 2 members down. Make that 3 members down from the side of TFF, as the Elder Dragon has fallen. It was picked up by the side of TFF. Caitlyn traps are now going to come out here onto the Xin Zhao, but I don't think it'll be enough. 2 members alive on DZG, 2 members alive on the side of TFF, and that was one hell of a scrappy fight. But I think ultimately the side of TFF getting what they wanted. They have the Elder Dragon. They lost a lot more than they wanted for it, but it definitely went in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering the fact that Xin Zhao at least still has his Elder Drake buff. I mean, granted, it's not as great as having it on like Senna or even Corky, but it's still a threat that you have to be mindful of. I was kind of hoping to see a little more out of the package from Corky. We've seen it really be really impactful, and he was very eager to drop his load, but it wasn't as meaningful as I wanted it to be this fight, you know?
No, absolutely. And another thing too is when Ominous went in to steal the dragon, he got blown up really before I think the smite was able to come down. So he went from O- to O- as that blood type was spilled all over the dragon pit.
Oh, really, now I got you on it. That's what I'm talking about.
That was a good one though. Like yours have been weak. But anywho, like he just wasn't able to really secure that objective, and with the members of TFF alive with that objective, like the fight was just unwinnable, even though the health bars were in their favor. But that execute is just so damn strong.
Yeah, it's always going to be a big threat, especially if Xin Zhao and Gnar are able to capitalize on their ultis and deal some damage out and proc the passive, like the Elder buff. It could be game changing, literally.
Absolutely.
Game ending.
Well, now we're seeing TFF not really do anything with this objective. They have the prime spot, but it looks like it's going to be fading out here in, I think, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. But they're going to opt to start up the Drake. Or, I'm sorry, the Nash here. And I cannot tell, but it still looks like both Gnar and the Xin Zhao, yes, they do have the Elder buff still. The ultimate coming in will land one on Sayer, maybe another one on Sayer, forced to go golden here. The fight breaking out. Sayer's flashed over the back of the pit, I believe. There's now damage going on to Cat Biggest. He's about to hit Meganar. Will it be enough? And I don't think so. Kopek taking down possibly Purple. Xin Zhao taking down Caitlyn. And Gnar taking down J4. Make that 4 members of DZG going down with only 1 member standing. They only took down Kopek. And decided TFF just opting here to go onto the Drake instead of really pushing into the base. They have long death timers. They could just end this game, but they want to go after Silent Elements. They finally take him down.
Honestly, not a fan of this Baron play here. Just end. Just end. You got
They
40 seconds.
It extremely slow, playing it extremely safe. They're going for the objective here, but I don't know if that will be enough to really cement this game. They might be able to break into the base, but the way that both teams have been playing so respectful with one another, that was 43 minutes in, and that was our first Nash.
It's definitely been a slow one, 43 minutes in, I expect more, especially when you have an 11k gold lead. Granted, some of that is obviously stemming from the last fight, but you had Elder Drake. You were able to win that fight and get Elder. I kind of want this base of DZG to be open at this point. Obviously, I don't want DZG to lose, but it's like, hey, you do have a very massive lead, and I kind of feel like TFF lost some of their momentum in the mid game.
Absolutely.
They were able to get all these turrets. All these turrets are gone, except for the base turrets right now.
Spectator, if I could please get a passive check on the Senna, that would be awesome. Oh yeah, she's sitting at 109 stats. She's feeling really good. Now, granted, she hasn't been feeling too great just because Silent Elements has been connecting so much. But Evil Gambit opting to ultimate back in will get stunned up by the or taunted back up by the Seraphine. Damage coming out now. Evil Gambit will fall to Kopek. Damage layering down now onto Ominous as he ults back in. Does get the lifeline passive going out, but it won't be enough to save him. Nautilus will fall immediately after. Caxi getting on top of Best Plunger with the Gnar going in. And Caxi barely living, but it was leaving indeed. All 5 members of TFF are alive, and you have to think that this is GG. Top lane inhib falls. Mid lane inhib falls. 45 minutes into this game, I think that is going to be all she wrote. Silent Element's doing all that he can to try to keep this tied at bay, but I don't think it will be enough.
You know, I didn't think that Seraphine sang in the opera, but she sure is singing right now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was game 1. TFF taking game 1 from DZG, bringing you game 2 here in a little bit. But let's take a look at some of these damage charts, as we know that Serath was pumping absolute insane numbers. Correct. Highest damage in the game, actually. And, you know, Evil Gambit on the set was nothing to scoff at either. But it wasn't a matter of who was dealing the damage. It was taking the wrong fights at the wrong times that really put the nail in the coffin for DZG, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't argue with you there. It's just unfortunate. I don't think that DZG played bad there. I think they have a lot of potential to capitalize. And they did. They capitalized multiple times. They tried to get early dragons to, grant pressure around the map, but unfortunately, they weren't able to hold these leads elsewhere. Bot and top ended up losing turrets, and they granted just net gold for their entire team, and were able to capitalize on it. Granted, I think that there was a chance in the mid game for DZG to come back, especially by Silent Elements, who was dishing out major damage and it was single-handedly making big plays with those ults.
He definitely kept his team in the game, but I think one thing that just DZG needs to do, and maybe Trey needs to do it with them, is just take them into a field, put them, a couple hundred, feet away from a bunker, and just play the air raid siren. And like, if they don't run to the bunker, they're doing it wrong, right? Like, the British learned their lesson. It's time for DZG Tartarus to learn their lesson that when the Corki package is available, you don't play games outside in the streets alone.
You just don't play with other people's packages. What happened?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be bringing you Game 2 draft here momentarily. I'm going to go flush my ears out with battery acid so I don't have to hear any more of Tony's jokes. Well, we'll be bringing you the draft shortly. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, bringing you the draft for Game 2 of Dreadzone Gaming Tartarus vs. TFF. And immediately, TFF had enough of the Xerath. That's their first ban taking off the table. As for other draft adaptations, though, we're going to have to really wait for things to unfold. But, PoE, what are some of the big things that you want to see changed up going into this game?
Oh, here's the thing. I don't think that DZG did anything, like, they didn't do anything that was bad, in my opinion. Like, they had a lot of potential here. But I really think that they need to either play it safe to kind of outscale the enemy, or at least tone down the possibility for Zen Zhao to get ahead like that. But it was just the bad timing. They need to work on their timing just a little bit, because first kill went to TFF. First tower went to TFF. And so there's some net gold here and there that DZG just missed out on. And unfortunately, they're missing out on these certain plays that they could be getting a little more out of it. And there was a lot of close calls like that where we saw members of TFF exceptionally low. And unfortunately, DZG just didn't have enough gusto just to finish it off.
Well, one of the big things that, you talked about, timing, right? And absolutely. Disrespecting timing, I think, was a factor as well. And with them taking away the Blitzkrieg option from the side of TFF by banning that Corki, I think that's going to really help with that timing criticality coming in from the side of DZG. So now it's going to be really interesting to see what TFF want to prioritize, and they felt really good with the Seraphine. They're going to pick that up as a first pick now, and DZG is opting to go for... Yep, they're going for the Ziggs here. So we saw them pull out the Zig/tower destruction methodology in their games 2 weeks ago. But they went for the Ziggs, they went for the Trundle, and without spoiling too much, the Trundle was previously played support, which really lined up things well with the Ziggs to land a lot of skill shots. It was fantastic to watch. Possibly Purple played out of their minds with those pillars, helping Silent Elements, who was actually piloting the bot lane Ziggs before, with that champion. So that's going to be one of the interesting things to keep our eyes on as well, is that previously this worked out really well for the side of Tartarus. But that was because it was Silent Elements piloting in the bot lane. But now that we have... the starting AD carry coming back onto the team, we might see things fan out a little differently. And TFF seemed to be content running things back just on the blue side of the map here.
Yeah, I mean, like, granted, I think that there's some room for improvement, but they definitely still played a very good game. I can't complain that TFF, they were up, almost like 13, 14 gold, 14k gold, but, it's like, hey, there's not a lot to critique here. Why not just run it back again, see what we can make out of it.
Absolutely, and Dreadzone has historically banned, well, I say historically, it was one game, but they banned the Shen against TFF. Instead, this time they're opting to pick up the Shen in the top lane and offering the utility tools that Stand United can bring. Hopefully, if communicated well, can really level up DZG's gameplay and a little bit of the reactivity as well, right? Instead of having some less than ideal teleports coming out that they're not able to defend, this way Shen coming out directly on top of the member, but... I don't think TFF have the read on the Trundle support pick here. They're banning out the Nautilus, and unless I'm mistaken personally, DZG is mind gaming them to absolute perfection right now.
Well, now let's slow it down a little bit. If we know anything about Trajan, he loves his Trundle jungle. And maybe he's translated that to his team. It's a possibility. And it's a decent flex.
We could put $10 on it. How's that sound?
I wouldn't bet any money because I'd probably wrong. But, it's a possibility. I don't want to say it's...
give Chad a sub.
yeah, I'm just saying. There's a chance.
No, you're absolutely right. But if not, then, Dreadzone did a fantastic job here by baiting out two picks here. And you might be right, because that Jinx coming in means that the Ziggs will not be in the bot lane. And historically, the Trundle Ziggs was the combination that Trey picked for the team. So with the Jinx coming out, they might want more of a traditional support, especially since you're not really going to get a lot of mileage out of the Trundle for the Son of Seraphine. The Pillar is fantastic for denying certain engage tools, but you're not really going to see too many of those there. But definitely giving a little bit of the opportunity here for the side. And oh, a Kale coming in. We talked about last game not wanting it to go late. Now with a Senna Kale coming in, absolutely you don't want this game to go late. And
It's
it's
a little
gonna
more risky bisky though. I think it's a little more risky bisky because now they don't have. Well, hold on, hold on. Let me recalculate my statement before I put my foot in my mouth. Um, hmm.
that's a mid lane Kale, top lane Mordekaiser.
You
And
know, uh, if this game goes late game, I can't. Whoa, whoa! Is it still this Trundle support? That's
I told you, Charles support coming in. It's something that Trajan really likes to do. And this Olaf, I think, is a fantastic pick. You're able to get on top of the kill. You're able to run down the Senna of the Seraphine. You ignore the Mordekaiser ult. You ignore the Seraphine ult. You ignore Senna, roots, right? If there's ever a champion to just say, we need to kill somebody, let's do it. It's going to be the Olaf, and paired with the Shen Stand United is going to be one of the best ways to do it because when it comes down to the roster or the team comp here from the side of DZG, that's the only thing really augmenting this Olaf's abilities. Typically, Olaf is something that you'll draft around more so. But yeah, no, I think this was fantastic
yeah.
adaptation from both teams.
I'm a little disappointed because typically when you run the Olaf, you funnel. When you funnel, especially at a party, you're fucking going in all in on the funnel, dude. And right now, it feels like Olaf is almost an afterthought.
I, I
But
think I think Olaf is a response to what the KO wants to do, right? You set up with the Ziggs. Ziggs does his thing. Olaf does his thing. So as long as the team is able to stay on the same page, another thing that we saw last game that won't be too much of a factor this game is the degree of separation coming from DZG Tartarus's members. And honestly, I feel that the draft from TFF is a lot more chaotic, right? It has chances to do really well, but it also has chances to backfire, right? With the Corki not being as reliable. I'm sorry, with the Kale not being as a reliable tool as the Kale here. So I'm sorry, Kale not as reliable as Corki. I'll get
the,
words
th-
out eventually.
the thing is, though, if this goes late, there are some definite issues for GZG.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Mordekaiser becomes an absolute wall. Senna gets stacks. Kale, like
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's going to be up to DZG to find opportunities to utilize the Ziggs to really, well, I'd say snowball, but it's more like satchel charge their way into an early game win.
That's definitely looking and feeling like the way the DZG's got to do this. They got to make use of the level 6 from the Shen, and they need to make use of the Olaf ulti. And when I make use of it, they need to be getting 2 kills in the bot lane. They need to be getting a kill in the top lane, getting a tower, and it has to be a little more tempo based and a little more fast in terms of what they're looking for.
Absolutely. And another thing that Evil Gambit really needs to keep his focus on is the opportunities for the interrupts as well. Like Stand United might not always be able to connect. Mordekaiser has the ultimate. He has the E available to really interrupt Shen and what Shen wants to do. So that's definitely going to be up to Evil Gambit to really keep his eyes on and say, hey, well, I can do this now, or hey, well, I can't. And if Olaf is relying on it, then it could be set up for failure here. So that's another thing. It's playing with a Shen. It feels really good when it works out. It feels really bad when you're
Well,
relying on your hit.
let's just hope that Olaf isn't head empty and only acts at this point.
Well,
That's
he
definitely a
is being
Trey
coached
motto.
by Trajan.
Yeah, I know it's a Trey motto, but I hope he isn't taking lessons from his mentor on how to play Olaf.
Well, I don't know. Trace had some pretty good Olaf
But his
games.
head sure is empty, and I'm just saying.
So looking at it overall, I feel like the Mordekaiser was a great answer into the Shen. You really don't have the auto attacks to worry about hitting. The passive sustain is insane. The Q's coming through is consistent damage. I feel like the Olaf was more just a response pick, but overall, this draft, how you feeling about it? What team do you really feel has the edge here? Poe.
Here's the thing. I really, really, really feel like TFF is a ticking time bomb here. Unfortunately, a lot of what DZG has drafted here, other than the Ziggs, is like a mid-game powerhouse. And right now, if they aren't able to capitalize on that early to mid game, it's gonna be a tough, tough game moving forward.
Especially if we have another 45-minute game and not a single Nash falls.
Absolutely. They cannot. DZG is not in a position right now to let this go to 45 minutes again.
No, I 100% agree. Unless the Ominous is just able to completely ruin Kale's day and prevent them from doing anything, which is a possibility, but later on you still have to worry about, the damage output coming from the Senna, who wasn't really that big of a factor last game, but I think that was mainly because Silent Elements on the...
You there? Well, I think what Jace was trying to say there was that thanks to Silent Elements' very accurate skill shots, as I had said before they started the previous game, if he lands all of his skill shots, he's definitely gonna win there. And he had a lot of moments where he landed all of his skill shots and was definitely winning there.
Yeah, the damage output was insane,
there you go.
and most
Cool.
of the time, Sire wasn't able to do anything.
I was very scared because I don't know that I'm intelligent enough to convey deep, intricate thought, and so I thought I was gonna have to carry this one.
No, you're good. I just had a little bit of a mic discrepancy, but yeah, we're seeing the last pick come in, and ultimately I agree with you. This game is all about the clock show. I feel like DZG had the tools to do a lot early, whereas the side of TFF have more power in the late game. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going into our spectator delay as all of the picks are now up on the board, and we'll be bringing you into Game 2 action of DZG Tartarus versus TFF.
You know what should have been the first pick here, Jace? You're my first.
brisk, chilling air is calling, and out there.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back bringing you Game 2 action of DZG Tartarus versus TFF. And I can't even get the acronym right, as it looks like both teams are going to be taken to the Rift, and we are just getting a little bit more of that 5-point spread. Nothing too spicy coming here in the early game. But speaking of the early game PoE, what are your eyes going to be on?
Well, honestly, I'm sorry, I just had a spicy Pringle, and it just absolutely destroyed me.
Well, we are seeing a little bit of action here now as Ominous is looking to go for Caxi, who wanted a little bit of a aggressive jungle vision there, was forced to chug a potion. Probably, yep, definitely going to recall. And minus Spicy Pringles, what are your thoughts, Tony?
No, honestly, I kind of wanted to see something a little more aggressive than the 5-point here from DZG. I kind of wanted to see maybe like a Kernel Pillar, plus like a Olaf Q into a Shen Taunt, something. I think that the best way that DZG can play this here is to take advantage of their early game strength here and just be aggressive. Be aggressive. And unfortunately, they opted to play a little bit safer. And I don't know if that was the way that they should have taken it.
Certainly. They had a lot of the tools. Not really a lot of threat coming out from the side of TFF. Maybe the Senna E coming out and rooting some people up could be a little bit obnoxious, but you have the weak early game strength of the
Jace, buddy, you there? Yeah, I think our my buddy Jace here is having a little bit of technical difficulties. And so I think what he's trying to say here is that by not taking the aggressive stance early, they're opting to kind of concede some of their early advantage, which isn't what they want to do in this situation. And unfortunately, by doing so, we might see some of this bleed into the middle game.
I don't think they're going to lose too much. They did lose a little bit of the information game by not getting a ward on the bot side jungle to really kind of status track on this Shinja. But as it comes down to it, like, they really want to accelerate the tempo, right? They want to look for opportunities to either, put Kale on the ground, maybe really get your 2v2 bot lane ahead, and look for opportunities to really accelerate the tempo. Rotate, Ziggs around. Opportunities to really take objectives with the Satchel Charge. Last time we've seen Silent Elements play with Tartarus and play this Ziggs champion, he was all over the map. I think he took every single tower, at least hit every single tower that the side of Tartarus got. But now we're seeing a little bit of trading pattern here come out, and that's Plunger taking a lot of damage. Caxi now in the mid lane. Onto Silent Elements. Silent Elements using the Satchel to get out a little bit. Might have to force a flash there. Does use the flash. Almost cost him his life just holding on to that ability. And not what you wanted to see, the little bit of that early game tempo going in the favor of TFF. This time, Silent Elements does have the teleport available to him. Might look to go back in, and does, as Ominous is now hanging out in the mid lane. Possibly Purple's recall getting interrupted right there, but I think this is just going to be Olaf 100% securing this topside scuttle, and Jin Zhao going for the bot one.
to give a lot of credit to Caxi here. This is the kind of stuff that I wanted to see from his Xin Zhao last game. I wanted to see him take these early ganks and actually translate them into an advantage for his mid laner. And he's done it this time around. Granted, Silent Elements is doing an incredible job of poking out Kopek here. He's saying like, "Hey, you're Poland, and time to get invaded." And right now, he's feeling the pressure.
You really had to think about that one, didn't you, buddy?
I was trying to dance around it, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have taken it this way, and I regretted it almost immediately.
Absolutely, and production did point out that Caxi actually utilized his flash for Scuttle, so that was a little bit of an interesting choice. But another thing to talk about is Caxi's prioritization here, right? Going and ganking the Kale just to relieve pressure is a sign of how they want to play this game. They really want Kopek here to pop off on this champion, opting to go for the call here, really looking to go into the late game, or to try to bring that late game closer as quickly as possible for Kopek, getting the farm, getting that call finished, and hopefully getting as much as they can. But Evil Gambit here taking the trades in the Mordekaiser. I don't think that's going to be a trade pattern that he's going to win out on, but it seems to go about even for now. But later, I fully expect that Mordekaiser to really have the upper hand in that lane. Things kind of just stable here now. There's a little bit of a CS difference in the favor of Tartarus here, but besides that one gank and a blown flash in the mid lane, not too much happening here, PoE.
Yeah, speaking of
I
that,
stand corrected. Sayer's now, Sayer's forced to use flash there, in a pretty good pillar, I think, trap set up there from Plunger and Purple. So well played from the side of DZG's bot lane.
It's a good thing his name's not Seer, because he sure didn't seer that coming.
Oh,
like a seer was like a psychic. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
You don't have children, do you, PoE?
God no.
I'd be embarrassed for them, honestly. But we are seeing, these windows of aggression coming out, and a lot of summoner spells being burnt. It's really going to be up to Ominous here and Caxi to take full advantage of these, to really accelerate the tempo for either team. DZG opting to go for the Drake instead of kind of getting some gold. We'll put them a little bit in the back seat when it comes to the gold lead, but 300, 200 gold is almost negligible.
It's just it doesn't really add up to a lot here. There isn't anything on the board right now that makes her, sways the scale right now. And I'm hoping the DZG, has learned from last game and can accelerate and actually capitalize on these early Drakes. We saw TFF concede these early Drakes last game, and it didn't really mount to much. They were able to get 4 souls before the same type of dragon, and it worked out in their favor. So let's hope that they are able to do something with these early Drakes that they weren't able to do last game.
Absolutely, and we're now seeing, the top lane match definitely going into the Mordekaiser's favor. Ziggs has a little bit of a lead here on the Kale, but it's going to really be down to Ominous here to try to break Ziggs out of this matchup and really try to put this Kale on the ground before she's able to really accelerate.
Yeah, I'm hoping that... Position. Oh my god. Jeez. Good trade by the Mordekaiser there.
Just Mordekaiser things. So yeah, Mordekaiser's going to be really strong, feeling really good about this matchup. For the most part, he's able to pretty much deal with almost anything in Shen's kit. And Shen, if he doesn't have Taunt available, he's going to be sitting in that passive for a very long time.
Yeah, at this point, I'm no top laner anymore, not since like season 4 or 5 or some shit, but here's the thing. I don't know that Shen wants to be spending this much time top, he wants to be looking for these opportunities, and I think this is a perfect one.
Oh, we're seeing the engage now coming out on Sayer, who no longer has access to the flash. Traps did not connect, the damage is not going to be there, so sorry to interrupt, but I thought that could have been a kill on Sayer, but the trap did not connect. But now here's the thing. If you do leave this Mordekaiser alone and he's able to free farm and start collecting plates, he's just going to be even more of a violent threat. Damage now coming out again. Sayer will be taken down. First blood going out. They're now focusing their attention on Scries. Ominous is down here. Possibly Purple taking the tower. Will die to it, but it looks like it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade as Scries does take out Trundle with the assistance of the tower. 2-for-1 in favor of Dread Zone, and that's some of the early game stuff that they wanted. But unfortunately... PoE, it's not going to be enough to really put them in a huge advantage in the gold position, just due to the fact that some of these CS deficits are pretty damning. there's a CS lead in mid, there's a CS lead in top, and that's really going to affect what DZG want to do, especially with some of these plates falling in the side of TFF, or for the side of TFF as well, top lane.
Well, you know what they say about dams. They're all good and dandy until they overflow, and if they're not careful about these CS differentials, it's definitely going to overflow.
Right, and we're seeing a result of it now. Caxi and Captain Biggest feel so comfortable in the top side that they're just walking in, taking what they want, and leaving. Maybe not even leaving. Herald's going to be coming up in, I think, another minute. And that's going to be something... Oh, I'm sorry. Caxi already got Herald. I lied. And they're probably just going to drop it in the top side and really try to accelerate this Mordekaiser.
How dare you lie to this audience about whether or not...
Yeah, I'm a terrible human being. My bad.
Yeah, you should feel ashamed.
So, Silent Elements is going to be trading here a little bit, but Caxi is on his way into the mid lane. I don't think he has Satchel Charge available. Stand United going to be coming out now. Ziggs stepping back in to deliver. We do have Ominous here now. Will land the Axe. Does still get the slow despite the ultimate coming out. Taunt landing onto Caxi. Evil Gambit on top of him. Teleport now being channeled by the Mordekaiser, who will get here soon. Probably going to Death Realm. Never mind, not need to. Ominous does fall to Kopek, and that is a kill going over to the side of the Kale. And a lot of utility burned here from the side of DZG. The Stand United, the Flash, and also Ominous dying as well. That is not looking too positive here for the side of DZG, as we're still sitting about even when it comes to the gold lead. But, Kale is feeling really good. Only 25 more CS to go. Has a CS even state right now in the lane. So it's... ticking time bomb, like we said. The W will connect on Silent Elements, who does Satchel Charge away, and it will be enough to save him from that one. But Kopek going back in does not have the damage, actually, to
The important thing to also consider here is the fact that the Kale has called. It's not like she's, the 4 CS is, she's even right now in CS. And here's the thing, because of the call, she's getting more gold per auto, and she's constantly harassing this Ziggs here.
Well, DZG kind of playing their same methodology that they had last time, really having a strong bot side, trying to look for opportunities to take these Drakes, as Evil Gambit's just doing his thing in the top lane, keeping the CS deficit about even from the previous time that we looked at it. So, gotta look fine there, and I mean, when you have a Senna Seraphine, your bot lane's not going to be too terribly strong to deal with, and to contest these neutral objectives. So this should be Drake falling for the side of DZG, but Herald's going to be dropped mid. We'll get this Kale a little bit more gold, and Caxi is looking here maybe to stop this. Smite should be coming in soon. It does. The Dragon was just outside of the W range from Caxi. Caxi is going to get slowed up here with the Axe. Members of DZG kind of laying a little bit of damage here, but not focusing on the efforts to take Caxi down. Best Plunger is sitting in no man's land by themselves, as now damage will come out. She went way too far without the team. Caxi sitting on top of them now. Will connect, will take the kill. Caxi takes down Best Plunger, but Caxi ultimately falls to Ominous. Trade pattern still going up on the top, as Mordekaiser does take Evil Gambit into the Death Realm. Damage will be coming out. Evil Gambit's going to be taken low. One more Q connect will do the nail in the coffin, and it does come down. Sayer now running for their life as the E will connect. They're going to try to run through the tower, but will it be enough? And the answer is potentially, as they are taking... No, not taking the tower damage here. Possibly Purple doing their best to run them down. I think the Jinx ult did connect, so either way, we'll be getting the assist for that. Silent Elements in the mid lane did take down Kopek, which is fantastic for the side of DZG. Ominous tried to get over the kill, but the minions there were just too much, and Sayer falls to the Olaf. Olaf sitting at 3-1, and a lot of these kills going in Dreadzone's favor, minus the top lane. Everything seems to be relatively okay for them as it stands.
Right now, I'd be happy to be this Olaf. You're ahead in CS. You're up on kills on your enemy jungler. And if I, for my fair share of times playing Olaf this season, I honestly think this is not a bad place to be. Yeah, Gore Drinker isn't busted anymore, but this is still gonna feel good.
Especially since Olaf is going to be, prime enemy number 1 for this Kale, right? Kale wants to do things. Her protection is the Mordekaiser Death Realm. Maybe it's Seraphine Ultimate. Maybe Senna E. But Olaf doesn't care about any of those things. And if it's layered with a proper Stand United, then Evil Gambit's getting the mileage that he needs out of this champion to make up for a little bit of the deficit that he's drawing here in the solo lane. So we are now seeing Scry's kind of just doing the vision game. No objectives on the map right now. I think we've got another 2 minutes. Silent Elements now being the target, uses the satchel charge to get out. Kale looking to go for it. Does not want to aggressively pull the trigger, even though she does have the ultimate available. Silent Elements feeling relatively safe. Definitely sticking around. Still has flash available, so... we are seeing Ominous now walking towards the mid lane here, maybe looking to do something, but might just go back into his jungle. But what do you think the straw to break the camel's back is going to be here, PoE?
Kale at level 11. And unfortunately, based on the fact that it's pretty even right now between the Kale and Ziggs, like, yeah, sure, that the Kale has a death, but it's the gold difference is in the favor of TFF. And right now, I think level 11 is going to be a hard spot for the scale. And then I just don't think that DZG has generated enough lead in order to make a meaningful impact on this game. And it's going to be scary moving forward.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we did see Evil Gambit kind of going for it down there, but this leads us to an interesting point. Dreadzone Gaming has opted to go for the lane swap. They might be focusing now for a Herald to really break open the game a little bit. That might be their play here. But Caxi is on the top side of the map as well. And I think if the 2v2 really plays out, then it's going to go in the favor of TFF, right? Mordekaiser and, Caxi versus a Trundle Jinx. It's definitely going to go in their favor. But, Ominous is sitting there up on the top side as well. They are now rotating up Seraphine as well. And they might be looking for this Herald, but maybe not, because the scuttle is in the favor of DZG here. So it's going to be a little bit of a back-and-forth dance as Silent Elements looking here to get a damage one to Sayer. Silent Elements has definitely had Sayer's number throughout this series, but Seraphine coming back down to help their AD carry, and for the bot lane, Evil Gambit just doing what he can to stay in this game.
Yeah, if DZG's not careful, they're going to be a Toad that's double parked.
I'm not going to give you the
I meant to say that they were a frog that's double parked, and the punchline was supposed to be that they get towed. I absolutely blundered.
You definitely butchered that.
I am so sorry. Like, it happens. I owe an apology to my audience.
Well, good news for the side of DZG. They have Stand United available. They are going to be able to join this fight if something does break out. But I think the side of TFF identifies that, and they're respecting it. They are sending Captain Biggest down to kind of see what's going on. Gets a ward on here, but that will be the Herald definitely falling. Evil Gambit just kind of doing what he can under tower here. The side of DZG might be looking to just break open this mid lane and try to get themselves something. Or they might be looking for this dragon that's spawning in 1 second. Looks like we're going to have a fight. As Best Plunger definitely called out in the front line between a rock and a hard place. As Cat Biggest is coming down. Stand United going out onto Best Plunger will lock down this carry. However, Scry's falling to Evil Gambit. Now we're seeing the Caitlyn does go down to the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser joining back out into the fight. Kale picking up a kill. Shut down onto the Olaf. Mordekaiser picking up the Trundle. And now Kale finishing off the Shen. That is 4 members dead on the side of DZG. Silent Elements doing what he can to stay alive. Does get the kill on the Kale. Might get the kill. Was played out of his mind there. Picking up the double kill on a very aggressive attempt to try to tower dive him. And it does even things out a little bit, but that Drake will definitely be falling in the side of TFF. The Silent Elements is trying to do what he can with some cheeky bombs, throwing them in there. Does not have what it needs to get it. The Jinx ult will come through, connect on Sayer. Will Silent Elements go for it? Ooh, the minefield just does not connect. And instead of getting that kill, Silent Elements keeping himself into this game, keeping his team into that game with one hell of a disastrous team fight.
Silent Elements absolutely putting his team in his satchel. Incredible.
Sayer, both games, just is not able to resist anything that Silent Elements wants to do. Playing the Senna last game, getting constantly bombarded by Xerath. This game, getting bombarded by bombs, literal bombs. So, Best Puncher, once again, not where you want to be, is now getting hit up by Caxi. Caxi opting not to take it this time as Ominous was hovering. But I think that's 2 times that Best Puncher has just really overstepped. And with the AD carry position, it's all about positioning. And, Plunger just really needs to say, whoa, hey, should I be leading the charge down here to check out this dragon? The answer is no. Satchel will go down, but it is a millisecond too late as Kopech on this Kale does get the first tower. I believe that was solo to them. Maybe the Seraphine got it as well. But yeah, literal milliseconds away from getting first tower for the side of DZG. They just weren't able to do
A
it.
little too cocky from the Mordekaiser here. I don't know if I'm a
Well, he
fan.
has Death Realm. I think he wins this.
Oh,
Possibly
100%.
Purple is now
Yeah,
stuck in the Death Realm. Has to use the Flash. Should be ending here very soon as 4 members of DZG are now here. Stand United will not be coming down. One more Q connects, and it was not fast enough as Jinx does get the shutdown onto this Mordekaiser. Now this tower should fall as, yes, Ziggs does get that with his passive. The response from TFF is to go mid lane, and this game is still dead even in the terms of gold. Herald now being dropped. This should break open the game a little bit more, especially with Ziggs having the satchel charge available. They might be able to get 2 towers here. Root coming down. Caxi is being focused.
Oh my God.
Caxi is going to fall as Ominous picks up that one. Herald's still alive. It is going to be a base race here as the members of TFF are trying to push their way as far as they can. But this will be the base breaking under 20 minutes. A far cry from how fast game 2, or slow game 1 went. Evil Gambit now being focused up. The ultimate coming up from Seraphine and the Root following up immediately. Teleport going to be called in from Silent Element since he's going to help out his members here. Base broken from the side of... Oh man, that did a lot of damage. Base broken from the side of DZG as they were not able to take the inhib, but they got a lot of damage onto the members, and they did not get their base broken into as well. So overall, I'd say DZG, that was some of the plays that we were looking to see from you, well executed.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a NASCAR race, but it sure is taking a left turn for the side of TFF.
Oh, you hurt me.
Come on, it was I kept frame, you know? I kept frame for that one.
You hurt me, but absolutely. Silent Elements is definitely doing everything that he can to keep this game rolling and in their favor. And honestly, you know, possibly Purple doing everything that they could to survive that Death Realm and setting things up, ideally, to wait for the rest of the team to get there. That flash was so clutch and living within just moments of the cube coming down from that Mordekaiser to really do things. And thank you, production staff. We appreciate it. Senna Soul Check is currently at 43, so hit her second phase, and I think going a lot slower than last game was. Whereas, you know, at the 30-minute mark, she was at 100 or something like that. Caxi now, between a rock and the hard place, is immediately that teleport will start being channeled by, I think, yes, Captain Biggest coming in and joining it. So DZG feeling real good about that. They look for the pick on Caxi, got a teleport instead, and they just break off. And Silent Elements is 3 mana away from having his tier completed, and then we'll need to start building that tier item. Senna has her tier almost completed, has not built that tier item as well, but it's going to be close to it. And there's going to be some pretty significant power spikes for the members of both DZG and TFF.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, with the 4-0-2 Ziggs, I kind of wish I was seeing, you know, like maybe a Dark Seal, you know, some of the little, you know, a minor flex per se, you know, on his team, you know? Say, hey, I'm the biggest and baddest, and I'm going to build this Dark Seal.
I think with the amount that he's been focused this game, maybe led to a little bit of that hesitation on the item. But it looks like the side of TFF are actually going to go sneak a Nash. So they're going for it now. I don't think Dreadzone knows. They don't have any far side alterations on this objective at the moment. They're actually instead looking for the Drake, which is spawning in 5 seconds. This is going to go over to the side of TFF. Captain here taking the bot side tower. He has the ultimate available. Should be using the Death Realm on Silent Element.
Him to the Shadow Realm. Let's go.
Yep, so he uses the Death Realm, will get Silent Elements here. Ominous is now trying to do all he can, but this Mordekaiser is huge. I think that was Stand United coming out. It was. Ominous will take down Captain Biggest, but this is TFF sitting with the Nash looking to push on the top side.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts because I was just bragging about Ziggs building a Dark Seal, but he was sent to the Shadow Realm. He did not win that duel. Definitely a Kaiba Corp member right there.
Alright, that was... Come on, Tony. No, but that was a fantastic Baron Sneak by the side of TFF. And Mordekaiser, you know, doing everything he can in the side lane to draw that pressure, and then ultimately just getting the kill out onto Ziggs. I mean, Nobody, with the exception of maybe the Olaf, can survive in that death realm for very long. Without multiple members, this Mordekaiser is going to be an absolute threat, especially just getting some shutdown gold on from the Ziggs, who was sitting at 4-0 previously. So I think that was 550 gold going into his pocket there. So and the tower as well. So that's a lot of gold going in, and the global gold from the Nash as well. Caxi feeling unstoppable and just walking in to try to get this blue buff. It will actually go to the side of Silent Elements, who was, definitely wanting some of that mana and cooldown reduction to throw more bombs. So that was good to see that going over. But now Dreadzone has to survive this Nash. They did end up getting the Drake, which will give them, the threat of the Mountain Soul, but it's a Mountain Soul.
There's no chance. Okay, so hear me out. Here's the thing. We have a Kale that's almost level 16. There's no way we get to the point where TFF is looking to take Soul. I think if DZG isn't able to take an opportunity here and push through bot lane, we're gonna be at a point where their late scaling team for TFF is gonna be at their most powerful, and it's gonna be a uphill battle from now on out.
Well, they're really feeling themselves here as they're trying to set up a siege here, maybe to break open into the base of DZG. Ominous is still strong. He can kill this Kale if he has the right moments. It's really going to be up to the side of TFF to really protect their strong members and their carry members. This Senna has not been doing anything in either series, so this is definitely going to be in the pockets of the Kale and the Mordekaiser for them to take down. But we do see the QSS coming out for Best Plunger, so they will be able to mitigate the effects of the Death Realm, but they haven't been the target of it yet. So that might have been a little bit of a...
I don't know if they needed to pay the QSS tax yet. I don't know.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit preemptive, but better to need it. I'm sorry. Better to need it and have it than have it and not need it.
Better,
sorry.
You know.
It's, have it, rather.
Yeah. You know what disappoints me, Jace?
What?
I didn't make a play on words for Ominous. I don't know why I didn't see it up until now, but the fact that I haven't made a pun about Ominous makes me a little upset.
I had one last game. I made up for it.
Oh, yeah, okay. I must have missed it. I'm sorry.
I said O-, O-, blood type. He was bleeding.
Ah, that's what that was. I just thought you weren't funny.
Oh, so we have his address, right? Can I? Okay, alright. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we get back into this game, 4K gold lead now sitting on the side of TFF. They really broke open that game with that Nash. Got a lot there for them. Their members in these solo lanes are absolutely huge. And I don't think can be... Well, the Mordekaiser at least cannot be stopped by a single person. And unless DZG finds some picks here to really try to swing the game back into it. Yeah, the base race that they opened up the bot lane was huge. This might be a chance. Caxi should be found out. The sweeper does see him, as now possibly Purple getting targeted out by Caxi here now, but it looks like that just fizzled out. They didn't know where the rest of the members of TFF were. They knew that the Kale, maybe they knew, that the Kale's teleport was available, so they just opted to not go for it. So, once again, things just kind of fizzling out, and DZG, when the opportunities arise for them to pull the trigger, they're not doing it. And unless they pull the trigger on a pick, it's really going to be an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is that I actually really liked this early game from DZG in comparison to last game, and I just it really, as a DZG player myself, it is kind of disappointing to see them being unable to translate this into a late game, or mid game success.
Silent Elements is now getting hard focused out. The root will connect, and Sayer is able to pick up that kill. I don't think it was a shutdown goal that time, but that is definitely going to give them all the jockey power that they need to really take this Drake, which was one of the shining beacons of hope for DZG, right? If they're able to get that Mountain Soul, maybe it gives them a little bit more of the resistance to really survive these fights and deal with the members of TFF, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be the case. TFF is in position. Dreadzone is just not contesting. Instead, they're opting to get vision control around the Nash, so hopefully they don't have a repeat of what happened last time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, they didn't have vision of their entire team being bot side, especially not in a position like that where you're looking to get collapsed on, 4v1. And it's just it's a tough situation to be in as Silent Elements for sure.
Well, I mean, it's a tough position to be in the side of Tartarus, in general, right? The things that they're wanting to do here just aren't being set up. They were hoping to maybe have the members of TFF engage on them and reverse it. Maybe they're looking for some of the pick opportunities, and TFF is just not displaying the chances. Ominous is now being layered onto by the members of TFF in his jungle. Pops a Ragnarok, or Stand United now coming out through, but Cat and Biggest does have the ultimate available. Opts to use it, I think, on Ominous now that the Ragnarok has ended, and that should be a very dead Olaf. Now, Shen being the target of the Mordekaiser as soon as he comes out of the Death Realm. Members of DZG hanging in there by a thread, but that is going to be the jungle down, Nash on the table, and you have to think that the members of TFF want it. They have the healing from the Kale, they have the healing from the Senna, they have the healing from the Seraphine. Dreadzone members are looking to jockey for the position on this. This is going to be a very healthy TFF versus 4 members, kind of half health on the side of DZG. Captain Biggest is playing frontline right here, gets the pullback on the E, possibly purple. I was taking the Death Realm again, I could not tell. It looked almost like it. Negative, was not. Just shredded by my Mordekaiser's damage though. And that is going to be a second Nash going over to the side of TFF.
It's painful here. Like it's not necessarily. Like, it's just that threat that we talked about. Eventually, that this game was going to get to a point in time, especially if it got to this late in the game, where we're seeing like a level 16 KO, level 17 KO, level 16 Mordekaiser. And now eventually we're getting to the point where the Senna is starting to stack up a lot more, and it's despite their good early performance, it's gotten to the point where their time's running out for the side of DZG. It's really unfortunate.
I don't even think it's so much that the Kale's doing. This Mordekaiser has just been an absolute wall. Even in the times that they have been able to kill him, it's taken at least 2 members. There's not a single person on the side of DZG that can comfortably 1v1 this individual. And last time, Olaf was forced to pop the Ragnarok so early that as soon as it wore out, then they just sent Captain Biggest right on top of him with the Death Realm. Caxi now going in, I think that's a little over-ambitious, but the members of TFF have the range opportunities here to really shove into the base. I think this should be mid-tower falling. Maybe not. It's going to hang in by a thread as this cannon's doing everything it can. Kopek being focused down here a little bit, but we'll go into the Death Shroud. Caxi going in right now is going to get rooted up. Teleport coming out. Has to be Captain Biggest on this Mordekaiser. Once you get here, 3-man E, 1-man E. Ominous should be falling here relatively soon. He's ticking. Damage is not falling up. Tower is now going to be falling here soon as the members of TFF break the base and might be looking for more. Captain Biggest going into the bot lane to super charge these minions here with the Nash buff. And you have to think that's going to be a second tower falling. And this is going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of DZG's base just getting obliterated. Sayer looking very low again, has to step back with the team to heal up. Captain Biggest now being the focus of a couple members of DZG, but they just don't have the tools to get on top of him and kill him, especially with Death Realm being available. We're going to have a little bit of a dance here, PoE, and honestly, it's not looking too good for the side of DZG.
No, especially now that they don't really have any towers to defend, outside of giving up their inhibs and fighting from the doubles. It's just not a good situation to be in.
Huge ultimate coming out from Ziggs. The members of DZG are really trying to run them down. I don't think they have the speed. There's a lot of speed options coming out from the Kale, and the Seraphine as well augmenting the healing.
There's no super mega death rocket. There's no super mega death rocket for them to follow up with and get an execute off of. It's unfortunate. It's very, very painful right now because at this point there was a lot of, DZG has fought hard to get to the point where they are in this game. But because of the way that, just the fact that it is a timer, it is a time bomb that is TFF, and we've hit to the point where it's almost over. The time is almost run out for the DZG.
Well, and not only, Kale's already at 16, so it's not really too much of that timer factor now, but the secondary timer is also in effect, the Senna being able to get souls. But honestly, I feel like in both games, the Senna has been more of a heal bot than really a damage output. I expect absolutely to see the Mordekaiser really topping the damage charts in this game, along with Silent Elements on the Ziggs, who has been able to hit a lot of abilities. But we should be seeing a fight here now as Kopek gets on to get some damage laid out. But Caxi hits the W onto Silent Elements. We'll be following it in. Pops the ultimate, still ticking down. We now see that Sayer is being focused by the Olaf, but it's not going to be enough. Mordekaiser does get the kill onto the Ziggs. Double kill onto the Shen. Now we are seeing the Jinx fall. That's 2 members of DZG. left to stop this onslaught here from the members of TFF. 5 members strong. They're healthy. They have the healing. And I think this has to be it for DZG. They were just not able to find anything. And then the damage they were able to deliver in that last fight was completely nullified by the insane healing potential that this roster has. Ladies and gentlemen, the members of TFF are now focusing down onto the Nexus towers. Olaf and Trundle doing everything they can, but it's not going to be enough. Second tower will fall. Nexus will be falling. And that is Game 2 going over to the side of TFF. That is the series going over to the side of TFF as they take Game 2 and the series away from Dreadzone Gaming Tartarus.
It's painful. You know, I feel bad for DZG here because it's not like they didn't play well. They did. The unfortunate thing is that there wasn't enough space generated for the Ziggs here in this, especially in this last fight. We're seeing that, you know, Silent Elements is literally the biggest damage dealer, you know, on the board, and is even doing almost as much as the entire TFF team combined. But the problem is that, like, in these crucial fights where he is attempting to deal damage, he's not able to spend most of his fight dealing that damage because he's being pulled out or is being, you know, attacked and isn't getting the healing needed to stay in the fight. And it's very, very, very painful at this moment for him. I feel bad. But
100%, and it was a matter of DZG not really able to accelerate the game in a favorable manner for them. Every time they found something, TFF found something to counter as well. And with the gold lead staying even, it's an even early game for TFF is a winning early game for TFF, and that's what we saw, and that's how it boiled down. Absolutely, but. Definitely some things for DZG Tartarus to work on as they prep for their second game, or prep for playoffs next week, rather. So we will be bringing you some of that action next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We will catch you next time. And PoE, thank you for joining me.
always a pleasure there, Jace.